What's up, everybody? My name is Shannon, and I am still waiting for my Satyr, and today we are talking about The Guardians of the Whills by Greg Rucka. So I wasn't originally going to talk about this book because it's just a Star Wars middle grade book. It's not very long, there's not a whole lot going on here. It takes place before the events of Rogue One, focusing in on Chirrut and Baze, on Jedha, and I didn't really think there was going to be a whole lot to this story, but Greg Rucka also wrote Before the Awakening, which if you haven't read, highly recommend that you do, because it is a pain train. It is so emotional. It just really makes you feel all of the feels for Rey and Finn and Poe before the events of The Force Awakens, and this book does exactly that, but for Chirrut and Baze. I cannot believe that this is a middle grade book. It is so heavy and emotional. There is so much angst going on here, and I wanted more. Like, I really wish that this book was longer. I really wish that we could have had like a more fleshed out story, because this is kind of focused in on the early days of the Empire infiltrating Jedha and like what's going on here, and Chirrut and Baze kind of realize that they can't stand by and let this happen. They're both very angry to see all of the destruction and all of the grief that the Empire is bringing, and it's really focused in on them helping out this one orphanage, and it's just really, really interesting, and I would have loved to get like so much more. Like, the story itself isn't all that compelling. Like, we do have Saw Gerrera and his partisans, but what was more interesting was being inside like Chirrut's mind and like being inside Baze's mind and seeing how they think about things, and like they're both so angry. That's something that I don't think gets focused on enough in kids' books, because like anger is something that I think a lot of kids really deal with and like don't know what to do with it. And this book shows it from like two different perspectives, because Baze is like so angry and wants to just really like, you know, like in the words of The Last Jedi, he just like wants to get in there and like mess up the city and just, you know, really make the Empire hurt. And Chirrut knows that they can't do that, because at the end of the day, if they can't fully get rid of the Empire, all they're going to do is make Jedha suffer more. So you have to be smart about it. You have to be strategic about it. There are different ways that you can be satisfied and get the justice that you're wanting without hurting other lives as well. And the fact that the author was able to give us this in such a simple and easy to understand way was truly amazing. So I really, really recommend checking out this book. I don't think it really adds a whole lot to Rogue One as a whole, other than just getting to spend more time with Chirrut and Baze, which it's such a shame that everybody dies in Rogue One. Old spoilers for Rogue One, because all of the characters that were introduced are just really awesome, and I just feel like this is something that everybody wants, is that we want to spend more time with these characters. So I would really love to get more like this, or in a longer format. I would love to see how Chirrut and Baze like were when they were actually guardians of the Whills. That whole religion has kind of collapsed on Jedha now, Chirrut being the only one who really still believes. That's another thing. Chirrut doesn't have the Force. He's not Force sensitive. That's something that a lot of people thought after watching Rogue One, is that he was Force sensitive because he's blind, but he's able to really sense all of these things. But he believes in the Force so much and has so much faith in the Force that sometimes he can just briefly feel it, and it makes him so upset to see Baze not believe when he can feel all of these things and knows that it's there. And that's another thing where it's just that is so emotionally complex, and to have that woven into this book, it's really a lot, and it's really, really cool to see. And it's only like 200 pages. It's a really, really quick read, so I highly recommend checking it out. I am going to give this book an A-, just because some of the action stuff was just a little bit boring. I kept saying that, like, you know, I wish that this book was longer, but I wish that it was longer in that we had more internal conversations, or more conversations about other things, because the action itself was a little bit, maybe if it was able to breathe a little bit more, it would have been a little bit more compelling. But regardless, highly, highly recommend that you check this book out, because this is definitely one that it just adds a lot to the story as a whole, I feel like, and that emotional complexity. Like I said, that anger, that faith in the Force, that this is a time when people don't even know if it's there because the Jedi are gone, and it's really, really cool. I hope that we get more stories from this perspective. That whole time period, that like Rebels time period, is so fascinating, and it's even more fascinating when it's told from perspectives that are outside of the main cast. So I really, really hope that we can explore more of this. But yeah, definitely go check this book out. It's getting an A- from me. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, be sure to hit that like button down below, and don't forget to subscribe so you can talk books with me every week. That is everything got for today, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!